Hi, and welcome to the 2020 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me once again on this weekend edition. I want to bring to your attention today some disparaging news as far as the travel and retail industry is concerned. Now, you guys, you have to remember we haven't seen the full effects of this pandemic sickness, this coronavirus, on the economy yet because of all the job losses and everything. So we haven't seen the full effects on each sector until next year, summer. But according to CNNBusiness.com, United Airlines posts another huge loss after pandemic guts demand for air travel. As you know, most of these airlines like United, Delta, American, Spirit, Southwest, they're operating on a half capacity schedule, 50% or less schedule. And some airlines are even blocking out the middle seats like Delta's doing to give you more space for social distancing. So that's less money that they're able to make per flight. And you know they have to turn over these flights quickly to be able to make profit. But they've been burning billions and millions of dollars per day. And so here we are with United Airlines. And they were one of the three that posted layoffs, as you know, as of October 1st, 2020, furloughs and layoffs for pilots and flight attendants or stewardesses. They posted a third quarter loss of this year that is the worst ever. They posted a $2.4 billion loss, excluding special items. That's slightly less than the $2.6 billion it lost on that basis in the second quarter, but a bit above analyst forecasts. Its net loss of $1.8 billion also exceeded the previous quarter's loss. Shares of United Airlines were little changed following hours of trading following this report. Now, United Airlines claims the losses are due to the massive drop in air travel brought by this whole pandemic, which has decimated the aviation industry. But even before this pandemic, they were losing money. Not just United, but all airlines were losing money. They haven't been on the profitable side since 2007, before the 2008-2009 financial crisis. U.S. airlines are expected to report about $10 billion in losses for the quarter. So thus, many of these companies are going up to Washington, D.C., asking the president to give them another $25 billion bailout. Now, why is it that these companies don't have a cash reserves? Why is it that they're burning through cash so fast? There's a lot of greed at the top, just like any business or pyramid scheme. CEOs and other people who have all the perks, and the guys that workers don't get that. So United is the second airline in the United States to report results after Delta announced a $2.1 billion operating loss on Tuesday. So now the CEO, Scott Kirby, says, quote, even though the negative impact of COVID-19 will persist in the near term, we are now focused on positioning the airline for a strong recovery that will allow United to bring our furloughed employees back to work and emerge as the global leader in aviation, end quote. But you notice the CEO, Scott Kirby, did not mention a timeline of when he's going to bring back these furloughed employees. And my guess is it could be up to a year or 2 years. So you're looking at 2022, possibly, for a lot of these pilots and flight attendants that were laid off or affected. United said that it trimmed the amount of cash it is burning through a daily average of $25 million in the third quarter, down from $40 million in the second quarter. Well, I guess that's a little bit of halfway improvement. The company was able to stem that cash drain because 9,000 employees took offers to leave the company voluntarily. And United reached deals with several of its unions to reduce labor costs and lower the number of involuntary furloughs. But yet still, it furloughed 13,000 employees on October 1st, the first day that federal prohibitions against involuntary job cuts in the industry ended. Those furloughs helped to reduce this cash burn in the third quarter, but unlike Delta, which said Tuesday it expects to end this cash burn by spring, United haven't given us a timeline of when they're going to end their cash burn and when they expect to bring in more cash than what it's spending now. Overall, the company's revenue tumbled 78%. That's less than an 87% drop in the second quarter. United's revenue that they collect from passengers was adjusted for its 70% reduction in capacity. That only fell 47%, which is they claim it's the smallest drop of any major U.S. airline, with Delta reporting a 55% drop during that time period. But my question is this: are more people flying or not? With this situation, not just the pandemic, but the financial crunch, the depression that we're in, I just don't see them recovering. And the same thing is happening in the cruise ship industry. They have been banned from these ports of call from Mexico all the way down through the Caribbean. The European cruises are banned. So the money is not there for any of these companies to really post any profits. Who's going to be taking the trip when we're facing anyway the worst depression that we've seen in over 55, 60 years? So demand is down. Even cars demand is down. The car lots are full of cars. The matter of fact, a lot of these car dealerships are renting out mall parking lots to store some of these new cars. The 2021 models, which are coming in this month and next month. The 2021 and 2022 models are coming in to store these pickup trucks and cars because nobody's buying the cars unless it's absolutely necessity. And who can blame them? I mean, now they're giving out 84-month loans, 0% down. That's absolutely insane. A new car today actually costs you $35,000 they want now for a Honda or a Toyota. It's insane for a 4-cylinder. We're not talking about the top of the line model, A-spec model, anything like that. Trucks, a new pickup truck, $60,000. F-150, Ford, F-250, Super Duty. It's absolutely insane. And so the transportation and the retail industry is going to be absolutely struggling. Crumbling infrastructure is going to be another big problem with this because remember now, these planes that these companies are flying, United, Delta, Spirit, these planes are at least 25 years old. You can look up the tail numbers on this website and it'll tell you the license number, tail numbers that you see on the plane, stamped on the plane. Some of these planes are 25, 30 years old easily, and they only get a couple in the new fleet. They're not buying a whole new fleet like Emirates Airlines overseas or Singapore Airlines. United Airlines, most of the airlines that are based in the States are buying a little bit of fleet on the new A220s and Airbus, stuff like that. But the majority of their fleet is old, okay? And they're using these regional and commuter planes that are 20 to 30 years old. It's just going to be an absolute disaster. Same thing with Amtrak. Amtrak is going to be an absolute nightmare. And now they're asking for a bailout. They're asking for a $20 billion bailout. And now Amtrak is going to be they're trying to get this new Acela train running in the Northeast from New York to D.C. This new train reportedly can go 160 miles an hour. But the question is, who's going to ride the train at 160 miles an hour on these old and aging CSX rail lines? And oh my gosh, can you imagine the amount of derailments they would have at that speed on these old and aging tracks? The infrastructure is going to go down in America. The transportation infrastructure is already going to go down, and that's why they're trying to introduce electric hybrid vehicles as much as they can now, and also try to part of the Green Deal, the Green New Deal that the Democrats are pushing. But the problem with that is, where is the money going to come from? And it's going to come from the ultra rich, the super rich, the 1%. Problem is, there's only so much you can tax the rich because most of the rich are going to leave this country and they're going to go to the bunkers and the underground safe havens or whatever they got their stuff at. They're not going to be able to finance the whole country again like they did during after the Great Depression with the New Deal and Teddy Roosevelt signing. This is not going to be one of these situations because this is a worldwide depression. But the United States is going to be leading it because of our high debt levels, high consumption levels, and no production levels. So you're going to see crumbling transportation infrastructure during these next 10 years from 2021 to 2030. You're going to see taxes increased on your vehicles, taxes increased on your property taxes. Everything is going to be increased in an attempt to try to pay and keep the government going, but it's just not going to work. And so I encourage you to continue to try to find alternative means of transportation. Some people like Uber, Lyft. Some people use bicycles. Anything that doesn't rely on gasoline as much as possible, to try to think about ways that you can cut back on that, because soon that may not be available in the United States. I know it's crazy to believe, but we're getting to that point where supplies, as each country, as we get deeper and deeper into this depression, each country is going to go into what's called protectionism, meaning they're going to support their country's population for them and themselves, every country for themselves. They're no longer going to be doing shipping, imports, and that's basically what China has told us. You deal with your own people, we're going to deal with our own people. We're not going to be exporting stuff to you as much because we're going to take care of our own 2 billion people, because this is a trade war that you wanted to have and all that stuff. So that's part of the deal. So continue to prepare, continue to be safe, and be blessed. I'll see you next video. Thank you very much.